what are my thoughts on, which was recently reported in the news, that Stephen Harper has written Barack Obama to say that if the Keystone project goes ahead, and if Barack Obama will only please approve the pipeline, then Stephen Harper will bring in some form of regulatory emission reduction plan for the oil industry. And the question was, is this realistic or sincere? And the question answers itself, I think. But the reality of Stephen Harper is that he has been against climate action ever since he was leader of the Alliance Party, and probably well before then. I can't really explain why. I do know because I used to work in the government of Canada. I have a really good network of friends who are climate scientists. I know virtually all the climate scientists, and so does Andrew Weaver. And when you ask, I've asked a lot of climate scientists if not only if they have ever briefed Stephen Harper, but if they know of any climate scientist who has ever briefed Stephen Harper on climate science. And the answer is no. So I don't think he's ever had a climate briefing. I've asked him in the House of Commons, and the answer is always, oh, we've had many briefings, but because I said, and give us the names, and they gloss over it. So for whatever reason, Stephen Harper, very clearly judging by his actions, doesn't think that climate change is anything more than an issue he has to navigate in the course of manipulating public opinion so that he won't lose votes on the basis of the fact that he has destroyed our foundational support for climate science. The first thing he did by himself, unilaterally, no vote in the House of Commons, was cancel the climate plan that had been brought in by Stéphane Dion and Paul Martin. It wasn't a perfect plan, but it would have taken us very close to our Kyoto target. So he's been, and taking apart things that were hugely popular, like the home energy retrofit program that everybody loved. Canceled that. We're the only country in the G20. I mean, this includes, you know, China, Brazil, as well as obviously the United States and the European Union, that with the requirement to have an economic stimulus package after the 2008 financial collapse, we're the only country that didn't capitalize on that opportunity to fund green initiatives. We're the only country that didn't have any element of our economic stimulus package that went for renewable energy, energy efficiency, or retrofitting our homes. The only money that Stephen Harper put in the economic stimulus package for homeowners to get rebates was to address the looming threat, which I'm sure we're all very grateful Stephen Harper grasped the nettle on this one, of ugly kitchens. Yeah, you can get your kitchen redone, you get marble countertops, you get rebated for that, but no, not insulating. Okay, so back to his offer to Barack Obama. We now have a situation where the Keystone project, by the way, in whose interest is the Keystone pipeline? The Koch brothers in particular. Okay? In 2008, before the financial collapse, there were several upgraders that were going to be built in northern Alberta. They were on the development queue. They were ready to go. There were a number of companies that wanted to build upgraders. Significance of an upgrader is it takes bitumen, which is neither oil nor tar nor crude. It sits like a lump on a table. It's not going to go anywhere. Bitumen is solid. Even after all the efforts of digging it out of the ground and running water through it and all the waste of energy and water and creation of tailings ponds, the raw product of bitumen can't flow. If you upgrade it in northern Alberta, you create something called synthetic crude, which can flow. If you further refine it, you can create oil and gasoline, and those products are easier and safer to ship. But anyway, before the 2008 financial crisis, there were going to be upgraders in northern Alberta. I'm sorry for taking some of this, but I think it really matters to explain the Keystone Pipeline. After the financial crisis eased up, and there were people the industries that had been planning to build things in northern Alberta, stepped back up to the plate and said, okay, that was on the shelf for a while, we're going ahead with it. No one ever brought back the upgraders. Instead, the Keystone Pipeline emerged. Because the Koch brothers figured out that they had refineries sitting on the Gulf of Mexico coast that were able to refine bitumen because they've been dealing with Venezuelan bitumen. So instead of building upgraders, and bearing in mind that the central decision-making around fossil fuel development isn't with governments, it's with fossil fuel multinationals. And they decided their economics were better to spend billions of dollars on a pipeline to bring bitumen to the Gulf of Mexico. And as I mentioned, bitumen won't flow, so you have to ship up to northern Alberta something called diluent, which isn't an actual identified substance that people can, it's any mixture of things. It's naphtha, but they also add benzene. And I found out recently they add butane. So you ship up this mix of stuff called diluent, and you mix it with the bitumen, and you ship it down the Keystone Pipeline for the benefit of the Koch brothers, but definitely not for the benefit of jobs in Northern Alberta. Right? This is a crazy scheme. So now Stephen Harper has found himself in an unenviable position, if you're Stephen Harper, because he thought that the jobs argument would be enough for Barack Obama. That the support of Republicans, the fact that Trans-Canada Pipeline had moved their route to avoid, at least somewhat avoid, not completely avoid, the sensitive aquifers in North Dakota. He thought it would just be a done deal. We've been lobbying really hard on this. And suddenly Barack Obama is, in his second term, doing something about climate. And he suddenly says, the key question on whether we approve this pipeline or not will be, what's the impact on greenhouse gases? The U.S. environmental movement is busy saying Canada's an outlaw. Canada has, Stephen Harper has no climate credibility.